Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Jumpstart. My name is Jason Meyer, and this morning we're going to look at a couple of paintings. And the first one we're going to look at, we're working on towards a finish, and they want a little more balance in the painting. So we'll see if we can't help them with that. And then we're going to look at a start. And today we're going to do something a tad bit different. At the end of the program, or after we look at the first two, I got a challenge for you guys. A shape challenge. So this is going to be kind of the beginning, warming up for our exercises that we're going to be doing next month as we spend the month finishing up what we have. Okay, so if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I hope you'll join us. That class starts Monday. You can find all the details on the website, jasonmeyer.com, or leave a comment, and Cindy's really good about getting in touch and getting people signed up. What else we got going on? We've got the new Procreate class starting, Introduction to Procreate, next Wednesday. Evidently, Cindy put that up on, advertise that somewhere. And somebody had made the comment, well, that's one way to meet the ladies. And it took me a minute to get it. I've been using the program for so long. But yeah, I guess that's another meaning of Procreate. So we had a good laugh at that. All right, so I hope everybody's well and ready to go. Miss Cindy's in the background, taking care of everything, and poor Miss Claudia, oof. She's got a root canal. I had one of those last week, so I feel for you. Good luck. Good luck. Well, why don't we jump right to it, and let's get to our first painting. Here we go. So as you can see on the top right, there's a bit of glare. But they wanted a little more balance. They wanted a little more balance. So how might we get that? Well, we do have this wonderful warm which our eyes love, right? You got a little bit here, but it's a little bit fast. It's a little bit fast. I think this is working really well as a stop, but this is a little bit more advanced. But I want to introduce this concept here. As I was looking at this, it made sense to me that maybe there was a little fire or something happening in this cave. And so maybe the orange is coming from this direction. Putting out the orange. And then what if, not a lot, I mean, we want to be subtle about this. But I was wondering if we just showed them a bit of blue sky up here. Right? What that'll do is that'll act from here. The idea is to pull them up that direction. Okay? And then the other idea is balancing all that warm with just a little bit of cool. Now, I don't want this a strong blue, and I don't want to, right, let that gradiate off. Why do we want it to gradiate off? Because that's more of a release. It won't be such an impactful color. All right, so it's way up there, so it didn't have to be that. But if you had that, then ever so slightly, you could have a little bit of blue influencing those things. And that might include just a little bit of skylight. Again, don't make it go all the way over to the orange. I would use it, like if the orange is this side, I would use the blue on that side. Okay, for balance. Again, not a lot. We want subtle. But what if there was just, again, not nearly as bright as the orange. It's almost just a temperature change. Right? And that could just be like some of the things being exposed to the sky. All right, well, I messed that up with the white, with the red, but why don't we take a minute and go back and try to do this in real life. So the idea again is they wanted a little balance. And so what we're going to go for or suggest here perhaps is maybe the fire's coming from inside, right? So that we literally have like a orange light coming from this direction. Again, this is a little more advanced. And then what we want to do is go over with a little bit of a blue sky. That's too light. And then things facing that direction will catch a little bit of that blue. Right? And you saw this, you'll see this, I don't know about today's movie posters, but movie posters of the past a lot, where there'll be a orange light on one side and a blue light coming out of the side with a shadow down the middle. Okay, so this is a take on that, except we're just going to do it much, much more subtle. Okay, so how would that look? How would that look? That's the question. How does it look? Let's see, we got Shakti and Jani's joined us. Good morning, guys. Good morning. So we're going to do a couple of looks here, and we're going to end the show today with a little exercise, a challenge for tomorrow morning. So I hope that some of you guys will take this up, this challenge I'm going to issue after we do our painting jump feedback, and get it turned in for tomorrow. This is going to be a fun course next month. So anyway, so we explained what we were going to do here to achieve some balance. And so now, let's see, I'm going to try to take, let's say 5 to 10 minutes and see how well I can do it to demonstrate. Again, 5 or 10 minutes isn't enough time. So, you know, take your time and be as subtle as you want. Again, this is all up to you. Again, the blue that we're going to add will be quieter if it's closer in value, and the blue is very gray. Right? So we don't want the blue too much lighter than what it's next to, because that's going to make too much noise. And we don't want it too bright of a chroma, because that will make too much noise. Again, this is just kind of a counterbalance. This isn't the main show, right? And really the purpose of the blue that we're going to put in is to make our yellows and our oranges look even better. All right, so if there was a little fire in the cave, right? Maybe the fire of ancient wisdom. I don't know. Who am I to say? What's going on here? Okay, and I think you've already kind of got it, but you know, maybe let some of that firelight shine on those walls. You could even, you know, let it go off there just a little bit. All right, give it, and you know how to give it a glow, so we want to give it a glow. You know, kind of walk off of that as it goes back in there rather than just a hard. All right, so give it a nice glow in there, something like that. And then for our sky, I think for our sky what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and see what value we've got right there. And I'm just going to keep that value and switch the hue. And now this isn't on the horizon because we're looking up. So this could be a little deeper blue, even a little bit warmer if we want. But the idea is not to get it too. All right, so that feels relatively good to me because it's not making a bunch of noise. It's pretty quiet. Okay, we want it to make a little bit of noise, again, because we want to balance all of this warm. Right, so after we go up here, we're hoping to get back there. And then we're going to gradate off of this a bit. Okay, and then the same, like that's probably a little bit dark. It's probably a little bit dark. But what you want to do is just get a bit of that blue, like the blue skylight, hitting that portion of the rock that's facing the sky. And again, we want this subtle. We don't want really hard edges there or anything. We want it really nice and quiet. Something like that. And then if we had some on the again, this may be too, that may be too bright of a blue, but I've got to show it bright enough so that you guys can see what I'm doing. And again, I'm not anticipating this is going to take much. That inside edge needs to be soft. Okay, so super fast. You might try a little bit something like that, Sue. I think that will work. Again, I want to reiterate. You know, I would keep this part pretty dark, right? I like that. This is so powerful that a dark kind of this heavy is almost necessary. And I like the idea of this dark too, because it makes the whole thing feel grounded, right? Almost like we're going from mud and dirt in the and ascending up to the light and the knowledge, right? And I just, so I think so much is going really good. I was surprised to see this again because I thought you were done. It looked really good to me. So when you push this, again, be subtle. Be subtle with that blue, right? But see if that doesn't help out. And, you know, it's up to you whether you want to put that fire in the cave and that little bit more orange over there on that side. But I think what it does is now we're going here, and instead of that being the next thing, we're pulled over here just a little bit. And so we do that, and then we also want to do that. So that means whatever blue is up there, you do want to make sure that it's enough to carry a little bit of a note or a little weight, if you will, right, for the viewer's eye. And you know, you're going to have to feel that out on the canvas. So Mark, this has turned into such a really great painting, Sue. So super, super proud of you. And I know that this is a painting from your heart too. So, I mean, for me, that's, man, that's just everything. So good job. One last thing that I see as I'm doing this, you might want to do we want to kind of take this guy out? Maybe let him a little bit darker. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too heavy, but think about downplaying him a little bit, right? And maybe even, since you're going to have that little bit of blue in the sky, you could downplay these a little bit. And I think that might work. All right, anyway, that's a few suggestions. Let's see here. What's happening? Yes, Claudia. We're all hoping Claudia feels better in a couple of days. She probably won't feel too good this afternoon. The texture. Yeah, she does. She was working on this a long time. I think you saw this. So yeah, she's got the rocks and everything. So beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah, just what I said. It's been so fun watching this. Ooh. So we'll have to find out, Sue, if what's the meaning of the symbols on the wall. That was Sue's specialty, is the petrographs in Hawaii, I believe. So it'll be interesting to hear her story on that. All right, guys. Good job, Sue. Good job. Look at all that love. Look at all that love. Love to see that. Oops, let's see. Did I go too fast? We'll take one last before and after. There we go. Okay, so all I did was I added a little blue. Oops. We added a little blue and a little bit of firelight in that cave to make the blue versus the orange. But we wanted to keep that blue very subtle. And then I thought about playing down those top rocks just a bit. Right, we still probably want a little form on them, but you might take them down just a bit. All right, so some subtle things I'm asking for there, Sue. So take what you like, what you think's a good idea, use it, and the rest of it, let it go. Let it go. All right, and here we've got an archangel. So she's finishing one and starting one. So this is a start. Sue, this is amazing. This is just a little study to get started. And this is totally amazing. And let me tell you why I think this is so amazing. For one, there's so many things going on here. I usually do not teach this. It's a little bit more advanced, is why I don't teach it. But what she's done here is this skin tone and this background are pretty much the same value. They're pretty much equal. And I always tell you guys, you can't do that. That background has to be less. So get that at that value in between. And I also tell you guys that I lie to you a lot, right? And it's not to deceive you, but it's overwhelming to hear the entire truth at one time. So let's take this step, and then let's take this step, and then let's take the next step, right? So these are steps to learning. And what she's done here is she's made those values equal. And I said you can't do that because then the skin will not come forward unless you have a lot of chroma here and it's warm because our eyes prefer the warm spectrum, and you have very cool grays back here. And for that reason, even though those values are equal, close to equal, the face comes forward. All right, and there's other reasons too. Some being that there's nothing happening here. There's a slow gradation of the gray, right? We've got this right here, but that's something else, right? And then here we've got the color, but then we have dark, and we have color, and we have dark, and we have color, and we have dark. So with this and this being equal, even if the color wasn't up, that light, dark we see across the face makes it more. Okay, and it's always just a measure of keeping the balance. Right? But for most people, for all people I've ever known or taught, it takes a little while to develop that sense. Okay? So I think what you're doing is great. And she said she'd like to put this in an archway. So I really don't have much to say other than I want to make sure, and I think you are, keeping the order of what's happening. And what I mean by that is, so we've got this coat hanging over her shoulder. We've got this dark hair. We've got the dark. We've got the dark, and we've got a little dark. Right? So basically keeping these quote unquote equal in value is part of what's making this such a strong statement. And I also like that look at the asymmetry of this. Right? This would be a good candidate for our challenge that's coming up next. This dark shape right here. Right? It's not perfect on each side. Right? And that can be boring. It's really hard to make a painting like that exciting. But that asymmetry with the dark on the one side and then the stronger color right here. Just a little bit of it. I'm blown away, Sue. I really am. This is fantastic. And then your gradations back here are fantastic. The way you have more, and I love this little bit back here, right, and closing down there. Just fantastic. And then it's up to you, but I could easily see, an archway around this, especially if we have a little bit more room. Okay. I do think as you go bigger, make sure you keep this head, above half. Once it gets to half or below, it's going to get more challenging into making this an important person, or an important subject, I should say. Okay, so again, I don't have too much more to say in this than, man, wow. It didn't seem to click, it didn't seem to click, it didn't seem to click, and then it has really seemed to click, and now you're like consistently doing this. So really beautiful, Sue. Really beautiful. If you have any particular questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but I think you're ready to go on. I think you're ready to go. Look at this air right here. Ah, so nice. So nice. So nice. Yeah, the hard edge right here. Yeah, I'm just smiling, Sue. I don't have much more to say. This is brilliant. I love this little study. It feels good. It feels really good to me. It's so good. Look at, there's so many things you're doing right here. I love how this is open and boom, we're closed there. We're open, closed. Right? That open, closed works really, really well. Okay? We may have to close off one more time over here. I don't know. And, when you close off, when I'm saying closed off, do you guys see the difference between the open edges and the closed edges? The thing to remember is that when you close off, it can mean, but it doesn't have to mean close off. That's a closing it off. But that's also closing it off. And the way you decide to go is going to, right, a little hard edge that's that big. All right, if we get a little hard edge, something from here to, that's one thing. All right, that's something completely different. Right? This is an archangel, so I'm suspecting that that's going to be much too much solidity for this, right? Because again, and part of an angel is not the solidness of it. In my mind. So that's something to think about. All right. Such sweetness. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, there's a feeling here, right? And looking at the comments, it's like a lot of you picked this up. Pick this up. Yeah. Yeah. And one reason this has a little bit of a different feel, guys, is because those values are equal. And so when this value of the face and this value are more equal, that's going to soften things. Okay, again, this is more difficult to do, so if you do it, make sure your warm color is most and is foreground, and your cool gray is background. Right? That's why she's able to do this, and it still works so well. All right, yeah. Love the energy. Yeah, I think you're killing it, Sue. You're killing it. Great job. Great job. I agree. All right, guys. Sue's on fire this week. Oof. We're going to have to get to work to keep up with Sue. She is on fire. Bang, bang, bang. All right, guys. Let's spend the next few minutes talking about a shape challenge. A shape challenge. Why not, huh? You guys got 5 or 10 minutes to do a shape? So the idea here is to I want you to create a shape from your imagination that is both stable and has movement. So you can do this with charcoal. You can really do this with whatever you want. You could do it with oil paint. If you've got to stain a canvas, start playing with this exercise and then spread it all out on the canvas to stain it. But what if we just let's just put a shape. Let's just a mark. Okay, so we just got a blob. So as we do this exercise, let's keep something in mind. Okay, and then also let's keep in mind the large role that edges play in the look of a value. Okay? Now, right, this is horizontal is stable. Right? Vertical is a stop or a division. And diagonal is movement. Okay, so stable, stop, move. A closed edge versus an open edge. Right, so this stop goes with that, and movement goes with that. Right, is that clear as mud? Is that as clear as mud for you guys? So, if we've got this little bit of knowledge in our noggin, how do we want to do that? Well, we could ground this and stabilize it on the ground, but we don't have to. We don't have to. What if something's attached to a wall? Maybe we got some stability over here with the hard edge. All right, so we got a stability and a stop. So we want to think about what's stop and what's movement and all the different ways that are stop and movement. What else is a stop? A straight line versus a curve. Okay, so with a vertical stop and a straight hard line there, then how might we get this thing moving? Well, what if we did a curve could we get this thing moving like that? Again, this is just, you know, out of your head on the spot. And a hard line around, that's pretty fast. You see how fast that goes? How could we slow that down a little bit? What if we just interrupted that? What if we just interrupted it a little bit? Okay. Are we getting a little more movement into this? So I'm just so if you've got charcoal, this is just the stump. Right, just smoothing this stuff out. All right, so does that have a little stability and movement? A little bit. Is it the best? I don't know. I don't know. I do know And I'm going to say, no, it's not the best. Well, why? Well, yeah, it's very active, but do you guys see that? It just fits perfectly in a little box. If I get a box big enough, I can just set it in a box and put a lid on it, then everything will be fine. Well, that's not what we want. We don't want shapes that you can box up and put away. Right? We want shapes that are so far beyond the ability to be bound that it literally mesmerizes people. It mesmerizes people. So how might we do that? Well, we got to get outside the box. How are we going to get outside the box? We'll just go outside the box. What does movement look like? How do you draw movement? Do you need some counter movement? Do we need some counter movement of some sort? Right? What does a stable dynamic shape look like? Okay, so how are we doing on time? Let's take one more example here. Let's do this together. And let's see, let's just go to the charcoal here. Let's go to the charcoal. Okay, so just put down a mark. And then where should we have a little stability? Should we have a little stability? Should we make a little corner of stability here this time? Okay, does it need to be a perfect corner, or can it be... Can we just get, some good straights over here? I don't know. We've got to find out. Right? Artists are those people who just got to find out. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I can make it tonight, guys. I got something I got to do. I got to check. I'm working on this thing. I'm working on this thing. So that spun around. Maybe this is just radial this time. Maybe this is just radial. Let's see. I don't know if we want radial. Well, maybe. Like get it going up like there. Right, so we want to move from that part of the corner down there, right? We want to think about that, and as we move, we want to move out from there. All right, are you guys on to what I'm doing here? I'm trying to, I want you guys just to sit down and explore with a dark shape, basically non-objectively. I don't want you to try to make an object, but I want you to focus on the shape, and I want you to see if you can get two qualities to that shape. The quality of stability and the quality of movement, of energy, of making that shape dynamic. Okay? So, this could be like a fireworks show or something, couldn't it? Right? And you could do very active shapes, you could do very passive shapes, but they've got to have enough movement to them. right? I don't want a completely still shape. Those are easy to do. Those are easy to do. But I would like a very dynamic shape, but also one that's grounded. All right, so I mean, it could be fireworks or that could be a tree. All right, you see how we could turn anything into them. So for this, you could get lost forever. So what I'm going to recommend is why don't you set a timer, right? And play with it. But when you get started, set a timer for like 2 to 3 minutes and do 4 or 5 of them kind of without thinking, right? It's stable, it's not, whatever. You'll check after the exercises. 3 to 5 minutes, do that for 5 or 10 minutes, get warmed up, and then set another timer for somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Right? What I'd recommend is set it for 5 minutes and then stop. Give yourself a little break and then look at it. And then give yourself another 5 minutes on it. Okay, if you've got some good ones, email them in to us, send them in, and I want to take a look at them tomorrow. Again, this is one of those abstract exercises that I think is so neat, and hopefully it'll just start creating your imagination growing and just exploding. I know when I start doing this after not very long, man, the imagination's just on fire. You got so many shapes and stuff that you don't have enough canvases or time or paper to get to them. And that's what we want. We want you just overflowing with shapes and movements and getting a feel for this really completely outside of any object. Okay. So that is it today. Thought-provoking journey. Mr. Tom. See if you don't have a canvas or two you can't do this with. Maybe you could stain one and do it. I'd like to see what you come up with, buddy. And you got a little lay-in I should have had on today. I forgot to put that on there. We'll talk about that later. I think how it can be used in back. Yeah. Oh. Yes. So Susan's a scientist and a teacher, and she says she hates abstract because her brain's working overtime to try to make something of it. Yeah. Well, we want to do both. Right? We want to visit both ends of the hallway. The completely abstracted end of the hallway, and that tight classical training end of the hallway. Right? You don't have to live either one too far, but it's good to poke your head in, see what they're doing, and do a little exercises. So it'll be fun. All right, guys. So I hope to see some of this this afternoon or this evening from you, and if so, then we'll take a look at it tomorrow. Again, if you've got paintings you're working on, let me see. Let's see. It seems like I owe Tom some feedback because I intended for him to be on this morning too. So I'll catch up with you in just a little while, Tom. And that's it for today. You are welcome, Shakti. You are welcome. You are welcome. Uh-oh. We've got imaginations running. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a horrible thing. I think it's a good thing. Have fun with it. Have fun. All right, everybody. We will talk to you. Let's see. Tonight is Wednesday, so there'll be no Masterworks tonight. That's gone to once a week. There'll be no Sketch Club tomorrow night, so we'll have Morning Jump Start tomorrow morning, and that'll be the programs for this week. Class will start on Monday, and we have a Procreate, Introduction to Procreate on the iPad starting Wednesday. If you haven't signed up for either one of those, please do so, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.